Hi, my name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your families by coaching you in real estate. Now, the best thing I can do today to help you make that happen is to tell you what's going on specifically here in Eagle River, Alaska. So, there's a lot of really good stuff here. We're going to cover the residential, the condo, and the multifamily market, and we'll tie it all up in a nice little bow for you at the end so you kind of know what's going on. Before we get started though, do make sure you give this video a like. If you haven't done so already, do make sure that you subscribe so you can stay updated on what's going on in the local market here. So if you're looking to move into this market from out of state, you know what's going on. And if you're here in the area and you're just wondering what's going on, wondering if, you know, what's going on with all these moving pieces, you'll know either way. So without further ado, let's go and jump into today's market update. The first thing that we're going to look at is what's going on in the active inventory for the residential market. So pretty consistently what we're seeing is the inventory's been about a third or less than a third or about a half of what it was in the previous year as far as the active inventory. This is important, and I'll talk more about that in the summary. But what we're seeing over here, a number of houses that were available this time last year, about 113. Now there's 48. They're available overall across Eagle River, and that's really been the case so far for the entire year. So inventory is down. That's number one for inventory for the residential market. The second thing we want to look at is the number of properties that are actually selling in this market. Now, this is interesting because keep in mind the inventory is down by about a third, a half of what it was this time last year, but we're seeing the number of units that's sold in Eagle River actually increased over that time, because we see over here the number went from about 51 properties that sold this time last year to 56, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but also you got to keep in mind the number of properties that we had available on the market. So pretty significant. Finally, which I'm sure this is the real reason everybody tunes in, let's see what's going on with the average sales price. So it was roughly about $395,000 this time last year, now $417,000. So we're seeing about a $20,000 increase in the average sold price here in Eagle River. We'll talk more about that in the summary, but obviously that's a highlight. Now we're going to go ahead and talk what is going on as far as the condo market in Eagle River. So first off, not a whole lot going on here. It's not as big of a piece of the market here as it is in other places like Anchorage or possibly the lower 48 if you're used to a really heavy condo market where you're coming from. But what we're seeing here is there were 4 condos on the market overall for Eagle River last year. This year, 4 condos. So not a whole lot of movement there one way or the other. So this is where it gets interesting for the condo market, because keep in mind I said there was about 4 condos that were on the market. And we're seeing obviously a significantly huge uptick in the number of condos that have actually sold, up to 17 from the year before, which just dwarfs everything else that we're seeing in the previous years during that month. So the number of units that have actually sold has skyrocketed, whereas the number of properties on the market has not really increased to keep pace with that. Finally, let's check out and see what's going on for the condo market as far as the resale values go for them. So what we're seeing over here, on average sales price for condos was about $240 last year. This year, it's about $273,000. So pretty big uptick in the overall average. We'll talk more about that in the summary. Let's take a quick break real quick. Did you know I actually host a podcast in addition to hosting the Alaska Realtor YouTube channel? Well, you do now. Definitely go check out this week's episode. This is an awesome episode we had where I actually go and interview the Bramante brothers. They have a YouTube channel also where they live off-grid with their family while running a lodge that is completely off-grid, right in the shadow of the mountain alley, and some of their stories of living off-grid is really fun. So do make sure you go check that out in the description section down below. Now, without further ado, let's go finish up today's market update. Lastly, what we're going to do is cover the multifamily market now. Now, this market isn't as big as we see with the residential or really the condo market too, which we'll get to that in just a minute here. But what we're seeing is that it's definitely seeing a huge downswing in the number of properties that are available. It went from 11 the year before, now we're looking closer to about 5 or 6. So not a whole lot in the way of multifamily properties. And that kind of makes sense just with what we know about Eagle River, but we'll talk more about that in the summary. This is really where we start seeing the data getting kind of patchy, because over here this just shows us the number of properties that sold recently. As far as multifamily go, not a whole lot's going on there, because we have one that sold. Last year we had 2. So yeah, so we're seeing one multifamily property sold. So that is something. Lastly, let's see what's going on in the multifamily market as far as the average sales price go. What we see over here, average sold price, roughly about 188, 89,000. This year it's 244 for the same time period. But you see all over here, you see all these numbers just shooting up dramatically and these huge shifts either way. And really the reason for that is because the multifamily numbers here incorporate all the numbers that you're going to see for all the different multifamily properties. So we're talking about everything from the duplex up to like the huge commercial 30-plex that's getting sold. So it incorporates all of that. So that's why you see these huge swings in either way. But yes, what we know is that multifamily properties in Eagle River are in pretty good demand. So let me go ahead and give you the summary real quick here. For residential, we're continuing to see inventory is low. That's not changing immediately, though we have seen some signs of the inventory starting to creep back up, or at least keep pace with where we were the year before. So that's something. Average sales price continues to go up, and we're also seeing that the demand remains very high for properties that are on the market. For those that are on the market right now, majority of them are actually under contract already. For instance, if you took into account all the properties that are currently under contract, it's closer to about 100, 170 something. But you can see there's only like 48 homes that are on the market. And what that tells us is we have about a 70% pending ratio, which means that there's a very high demand. Usually this time of year, we'd see about 30% pending ratio compared to the overall inventory. This year, a lot closer to about 70, 75%. So that's first off. Okay, second off, for condos, kind of the same story, just on a much smaller level. So inventory's low, average sales price is up, and the demand remains pretty high. As far as multifamilies go, they are in high demand in Eagle River, just because even though it's a lower cap rate, it's in high demand just because it's a lower cap rate. You're not going to make as much, but also there's a perception of it being a lot more predictable moving forward and a lot more stable. So that's just the perception I've discovered working with investors. So those are going to be kind of the big takeaways as far as we see that. These are your applications if you're a buyer or a seller. If you are a buyer, is it a good time to buy? Yes. Yes, it is still a good time to buy. Average sales price is going up. Yes. But average sales price has been going up since they've been tracking real estate statistics. There have been 2 very, very brief times in history to where the average sold price has actually gone backwards. Okay? There's always an upward trend in appreciation. So if you think you're going to just wait this out and try to jump back in later on, you're going to be disappointed, because it's not like the prices are going to suddenly just collapse on themselves and go back to what they were before. That's really not in the data, and even if it did, it's very quickly is going to recover and go right back up. So with the fact that the average appreciation is going up, if you wait, all that's going to mean is the value on the properties are actually going to be higher later than what they are right now, okay? Because the rate at which they're increasing might go down, but that doesn't mean that they're going to decrease in value, okay? That's my application to buyers. If you're looking at getting into investing, still a good time to do it. You just got to be smart, and we got to make sure the deal actually makes sense, okay? We're not out there just buying anything, okay? Be very specific on what it is that you're looking for. If you're looking for some investment properties, please make sure you reach out to me. We'll get you set up for that. Now, let's talk for sellers. I've been saying this for a long time, but realistically, you're probably not going to find a better market than this to sell right now. Oh, but you just said, if you wait, the sales price is going to be higher than what it is now. Well, yes, but also keep in mind what drives that price up is demand from buyers. So if you're looking at selling your property and having a lot of buyers who are interested in your property gives you the ability to negotiate, okay? So you might not be paying for closing expenses for the buyer, which that's been pretty common for the past years, really up here in this market. Another thing is you're going to have the ability to negotiate out some of the other terms, like you might not have to pay for a home warranty depending on the loan program. You might have a more cushy kind of a time frame that you're looking at actually closing. So there's a lot of reasons for why you should just get on right now. So inventory's low, demand remains high, buyers still want stuff because the interest rates are low, and that's really what's going to give you your top dollar amount, in addition to the strong marketing plan that we have in place. So I sure hope this has been useful for you. If you are looking at getting your home on the market here soon, do make sure you check out my seller's guide, which is going to be in the description section down below. It walks you through our step-by-step process for how we're going to get you the most that we possibly can for your home. If you're looking at purchasing something in the near future, please make sure you reach out to me on my Facebook page, and link for that again is going to be in the description section down below. Please do not email me. I'm probably never going to see it. Okay, I've got well over 12,000 unanswered, unread emails in my inbox just because I'm a realtor. I get all these emails all the time. It's very easy to lose track of stuff in there, okay? So you're going to be one of about 12,000 if you try to email me. You'll be one of like 20 or 50, however many. No, you'll be one of like 2 messages that I haven't read in my my Facebook inbox. So make sure you reach out to me through Facebook. That's going to be the best way to get a hold of me. And I appreciate you. Keep the questions coming, guys. And we'll see you.